Warhammer fans are losing their minds. Henry Cavill, the Superman, has now announced that he is setting up a Warhammer cinematic universe. Wow, pretty big news, pretty huge news. Seems like Warhammer 40k is finally going mainstream. And for those who don't know this, by the way, all like 3 of you, Henry Cavill is, well, firstly, he's a huge superstar. He's like a massive A-list actor. He starred as Superman for the DCEU, but also he is a massive Warhammer fan. Like, he's a mega fan for Warhammer. To say that people are excited is probably a bit of an understatement. The moment that this was announced followed a billion different pitches for various Warhammer 40k TV shows. It turns out that absolutely everybody has a Warhammer 40k script in their hobby table drawer. This is the new great American novel, The Tale of Scragrat and the Other Hivers. And obviously this is good, right? Henry Cavill is a huge name. He's a mainstream name. He's already done a ton of awareness raising for Warhammer 40k. And this is pretty exciting for me too. You might be surprised. I consider myself a wargamer before a Warhammer fan. But it has to be said, Warhammer is the biggest miniature war game out there, and the bigger it gets, the more likely it becomes that people will try other war games as well. I want a healthy, sustainable hobby here, and I do think that actually Warhammer 40k becoming a bigger brand does help that become the case. So sure, go ahead, indulge in the fantasy of what movie you want Henry Cavill to create in his Warhammer cinematic universe. Because, well, it's fun to pitch and daydream about these types of projects. Personally, I do have a little Lord of the Rings trilogy, little sequel trilogy there. Also, pretty sick Superman movie as well, so anytime Hollywood wants to ring me up, I got a couple of pitches, you know, you never know. And it has been fun to see everybody's pitches for Warhammer 40k, even if most of them have been pretty bad. I'm sorry, they have. Some of them have been good, some of them have been good. Unfortunately, I would love to say that this is just, yay, get excited and move on, but that's not really the case here. There is a little bit of, there's something eating at me here. So this was announced by Henry Cavill on his Instagram page and Warhammer community as well. Amazon put out a press statement that then I think got picked up by a bunch of different news outlets. So this is a pretty official public statement, right? The issue I'm having is, if you actually read the statement itself, it doesn't bode particularly well for this project right now. Currently, it feels incredibly premature. So premature, in fact, that I'm surprised the Warhammer community actually ran with this, or that Amazon did as well. It feels like something that would accidentally be slipped by an actor. So here is the Instagram post from Henry Cavill. And you can see in this, he refers to it as the Warhammer Cinematic Universe, which is a huge statement to make, and a little bit reckless, in my opinion. The only real cinematic universe that has kind of made it is Marvel one. DC didn't really quite work out, even though I think that that one was probably better than the Marvel Cinematic Universe. The Universal Monsters movies didn't quite work out. I guess the Go Fast or Die Young, the Fast Car Go Fast Car, what's it called? The Too Fast, Too Furious one kind of worked out. That one kind of worked out. And what he's basing this on is that currently he is up for doing it. That's kind of it. Now, he has signed a preliminary contract with Amazon, which is good. It means that Amazon are interested in perhaps financing such a show and hosting it on Amazon Prime. But the only other person that is mentioned as being on board with this project is a woman called Natalie Viscu from Vertigo. And at first I thought, hey, Vertigo are interested. They've got somebody on board. They've actually got money interested in this. There must be something of substance here. Okay, but actually after a quick Google, it turns out that Natalie is Henry Cavill's partner. So, I mean, she kind of has to be on board, right? And in fact, Henry Cavill does say that the next stage for him is to try and find a writer, a filmmaker, a director. So correct me if I'm wrong, but it seems to me that so far, Henry Cavill and his partner have signed a preliminary contract with Amazon to potentially make a Warhammer TV show of some kind for Amazon Prime, and they have, like, we don't even have concept art yet. In fact, we don't have a project. Like, as far as I'm aware, we don't have a name. We don't have an idea. Jeez, maybe people who are currently pitching the show to their friends on Discord should really start refining those pitches, because this might be your chance. So yeah, I mean, cool and all, but like, you know, this feels a little bit reckless. But for whatever reason, it has been announced now, even by Warhammer community. So there might be something a little bit more. It's not like Games Workshop aren't on board with this and they've been blindsided. One little note though, maybe don't end the Instagram post with "for the Emperor." Come on, some of us are Eldar players and stuff. I'm just kidding. So this Instagram post mostly feels like an excuse to get people excited to lay the groundwork for potentially a real announcement in a year or two, which honestly is fine. Okay, it's fun to get excited sometimes. And of course people are excited. For a lot of people, this is validation. Many people have been involved in the Warhammer fandom for a really long time, often whilst it was pretty unpopular. And now that we're sort of in this space where nerd stuff is cool, Warhammer was kind of left out in the cold a little bit. It's slowly been growing in the background, but it's nothing compared to something like D&D or even Star Wars. I do think that there's a ton of scope for the Warhammer 40k setting, but I am kind of nervous about a cinematic universe. Just in general, I'm very suspicious and skeptical of that kind of idea now. I just hope that the first couple of movies aren't super focused on like Space Marines or Custodes. Henry Cavill is going to be an executive producer for this cinematic universe, and I know that he is a big fan of Custodes. He collects them. But as a Gene Stealer cultist player, as a Dark Eldar player, all I can say is, yeah, that's what I want, actually. That's the show I want. Here's my pitch, Henry Cavill. I want a Dark Eldar show, huh? No one's pitching that one. Everyone's like, I want a Space Marine show. Maybe an Inquisitor. I want a Dark Eldar show. Give me that. Just like the Dark Eldar arena. Just hanging out. Life in the arena, never a dull moment. Maybe a family drama? Do you remember Rome? Rome TV show was really good. What if it was that, but in Kimura? I will say a word of warning to Henry Cavill here, and a word of warning to Henry Cavill here and to the people who really, really want Space Marine shows. It's very hard to make those interesting for a general audience, people who aren't already super invested in the 40k setting. Henry Cavill is a really big fan. In a lot of ways, that's excellent for a TV show like this, because you need to bring the passion to the table, and a fan can do that, like he did with The Witcher. The downside, though, is that sometimes that can blind you to the weaknesses of the setting, things that people who maybe aren't already massively invested fans might find alienating, off-putting, weird. And those things can be good, but they have to be presented in a certain way, is my point. And I'm worried that Warhammer is a really tricky setting to get right. It's actually pretty complicated and tough. I actually think that most of the Black Library kind of fails at portraying Warhammer in an interesting light. So I just hope that this isn't just the Space Marine variety hour. Instead, you know, something like an Inquisitor who slowly grows alienated with the Inquisition, or even he's just an acolyte or whatever, and eventually joins some sort of resistance force against it. Warhammer 40k Andor, right? That would be pretty cool. And hey, if you want to pitch your idea to me, who has absolutely no power or control over any of this, why not join my Patreon at patreon.com/discoursminiatures, where you get access to exclusive content, exclusive live streams, and even access to secret Discord rooms where you can chat with me directly. Check it out. And hey, maybe this will help people get less embarrassed by Warhammer, by their enjoyment of the setting of the miniature war game. If you're interested in that topic, I've done a video on that here, with special guest star Henry Cavill in the thumbnail. And a big thanks to all my patrons, especially Sonic Bread. Thank you guys so much. I'll catch y'all next time. Bye-bye!